So I recently made a video explaining to people that, in my opinion, Linux Mint Cinnamon was the easiest and most Windows-like version of Linux that was available for those people who are looking to migrate from Windows over to Linux. And in the comments, you guys let me know that my opinion was just wrong. And most of you were telling me that Zorin OS was a more Windows-like operating system. So in today's video, we're going to install Zorin OS on a super old computer. I'm going to walk you through it step by step, and then you can decide for yourself which of the two operating systems is more like Windows. So what you want to do is go to zorin.com in your web browser. And when that page loads, this is what you'll see. So I've already plugged in a flash drive. You can see it's drive letter G here. And I have already formatted the drive in NTFS simply because sometimes installers don't want to boot correctly if they're not formatted properly. To be sure, you can just right click on the drive, go to Format, and then make sure NTFS is selected for file system. And in this case, I labeled it Zorin OS. You can label it whatever you want. Go ahead and start and close. And remember, if this is a drive that has any data on it, this will wipe the drive. So make sure that you have all of the data off of it. Best to do it with a brand new drive. Either way, we now have our drive G as our flash drive. So on the Zorin website, you're going to just simply click on the download button on the front page there. Now, the first thing it's going to do is try to sell you this Pro version, which does cost about $47. There are a ton of tools available in this version, but we want the Core, which is the free version. And there is a ton of apps available in the Pro version. You can always upgrade from the Core to the Pro later if you like Zorin. You can compare all the different features between the two if you like. You can do that all from the website before you decide. Anyway, we're going to go ahead and download the Core version. And all you got to do is scroll down a little bit till you see Zorin Core, click download, and you can either subscribe to the newsletter here or just skip directly to the download. The ISO file should default to your downloads folder. Doesn't matter where you put it, just make sure you know where it's downloading to. This is a pretty big file and it's going to take a few minutes to download, but we do need one other thing, and that is the ability to create an installer with that image. So if you click right here on how to install Zorin OS, you scroll down the page just a little bit. Now this first section here is talking about downloading the Zorin OS, which we've already done. Now what you want to do is use this program here called Balena Etcher. And this will allow you to create the installation disk. And a lot of you out there use Rufus. I use Rufus too. This is just a different program. Just go ahead and click on that blue Download Balena Etcher button. And you're going to go to this page here where you can click on Download Etcher, the green button at the bottom. Now, choose the version for the operating system that you have, not the one you want. So if you're doing this from a Windows PC and you're going to wipe it, go ahead and choose the Windows installer. I'm downloading the Windows version, and it's much smaller than the ISO image file. It's only going to take a minute or so to finish downloading. Now, once that is done, I'm just going to right click on the download and show in my downloads folder, and then right click on the Balena Etcher setup file and choose Run as Administrator. Okay, so this is the interface for the Etcher program, and what you're going to do, you're going to click on Flash from File once that file has been completely downloaded, and then it's going to point you to the downloads folder where you downloaded the Zorin image file. So you're just going to select the Zorin ISO image file and click Open. And then you're going to select the target. And again, this is where the drive letter is important. You can see here, I've got a handful of different USB connected drives. You definitely want to make sure you don't overwrite another drive. So the 8 gig USB drive is the one that I want to create this on. So I'm going to select that and then continue. And then just click Flash and sit back and let it go. And just a few minutes later, you'll get this message saying Flash completed, and you can choose to flash another one or just click the X at the top right of this window to close it. I'm going to go ahead and restart the computer, and since this is a Dell, I can choose F12 to select a device to boot to. May be different for you depending on your make and model. You can either go into the BIOS or press, again, F12 for Dell. I think it's, like F9, F10, F1. Just depends on the type of machine that you have. So I plugged the flash drive into the computer and hit F12 to boot. And I get this option here, which is to either try or install Zorin OS. Second option is to try or install Zorin OS with safe graphics, just in case you might have any add-on video cards that may cause issues, or you can try or install Zorin OS with modern NVIDIA drivers. My recommendation would be just to stick to the basic one. You can always update drivers later for your GPU. So select that, and I'm going to hit enter. All right, so at this point, what the installer is doing is it's actually checking the file structure of the USB drive, if I'm not mistaken, just to make sure that all the files are correctly written to that from when we created the disk using a Boolean etcher. So everybody says to let this process continue. All right, so the installation window is up, and we have two options here. We can try Zorin OS, run it off the flash drive, and it does not cause any issues with the underlying Windows that's already installed. If you are 100% sure that you want to wipe the drive completely, you can just click on Install Zorin OS. So for now, I'm just going to click on Try It, just to go ahead and get it set up and show you what it looks like. Now here is the Zorin desktop, which again is running off the USB drive. So it is a little slower, but it's actually faster than the Windows 7 that was on here before. So if you want to poke around here, you can see it looks just like very similar to a Windows desktop environment here with the start menu and all of this stuff. There's a few things that you're going to have to learn, but most people pick it up pretty easy. If you want to just poke around and look at what is included here, or some of the different settings that come with Zorin, you can certainly check those out here. Most of it is pretty basic, pretty simple, very similar to a Windows environment. Now, in this case, I still have Windows installed underneath this Zorin that's running off flash drive, but I want to wipe that completely. I want to start over, no Windows, no Microsoft, nothing. So I'm just going to click this link here to install Zorin OS up at the top left corner, and that's going to start the installation of Zorin on this computer. Now you're going to get a couple prompts here. The first one is to choose your language. I'm going to click continue. Keyboard, same thing, English or whatever your keyboard is, click continue. Now the next option here, to download updates while installing, I'm going to leave that checked because I want it to give me the latest version of the software, and also install third-party software for graphics and Wi-Fi hardware and so on and so forth. I'm going to leave that checked as well, and I'm just going to go ahead and click continue. All right, our next screen that comes up is going to prompt us for the installation type, and let me explain what this means. If you want to run both Windows and Linux side by side, it's what's called a dual boot environment, meaning when your computer turns on, it's going to prompt you, do you want to boot into Linux or do you want to boot into Windows? This would be good for people who maybe have Windows software that is already installed, and maybe they don't have the original software, but they want to use Linux primarily as their daily driver. That would be a good option. In this case, I don't want any Windows, any Microsoft, anything on this drive. I just want it to run and give me no problems. So I don't care about wiping Windows. In this case, I'm going to choose Erase Disk and install Zorin OS. Now, what that's going to do is, again, if you have anything on your Windows computer, make sure you back it up first, because once you select this option and continue, there's no going back. Okay, so you can quit at this point and go back up your data, start the process over. I have nothing on this computer I care about, so literally I just want it to be a Linux box. So I'm going to choose Erase Disk and install Zorin OS, and then I'm going to click Install Now. Now you're going to get a prompt saying, are you sure you want to write these changes, etc., etc. Again, if you have any doubts and you're not sure, click go back. I have no problem with that, so I'm going to click continue, go ahead and wipe it and start from scratch. I'm going to choose my time zone. So for your username, Linux doesn't let you use capital letters. You actually have to make some configuration changes to do that. I'm just going to use my AYCG. Now I'm going to go ahead and type a password and confirm it. I'm going to select login automatically, so it just goes straight into the desktop when I turn it on. And I'm going to click continue. Now what's going to happen is it's going to go create all the partitions that it needs and start installing the software. So at this point, sit back and wait. As you can see, it does say the installation is finished. You can continue using Zorin OS, but you're still going to be running off the flash drive. until you restart the computer, you're not going to be actually running it on the hard drive that's installed in the computer. So I'm going to go ahead and click restart now, and the computer is going to restart. So it's telling me to remove the installation medium, which is the flash drive. I'm going to go ahead and do that, and then press enter. And one of the very first things you're going to see here is a welcome to Zorin OS window that pops up. And if you aren't familiar with Linux or Zorin, you can actually go ahead and click Start Tour, and it will kind of cover all the basics of the not only Linux but the Zorin distro specifically. Now in this case, I'm pretty sure I could figure out my way around, so I'm going to just say no thanks. And at this point, I am on the Zorin desktop here. As you can see, it looks very much like Windows. Your start menu and settings options and things like that. Pretty much everything that you would do in Windows, you can do in Linux. In this case, it is very much like Windows. And you might get a software update window here, letting you know that new software has been released. You can choose to install it now, or you can choose to install it later, which is something that Windows users absolutely miss from the good old days. It's just let me know and I'm good to go. So all your controls here as far as audio and wireless and internet access and all that stuff is very much like it is in Windows. So if you are an existing Windows user, you may very well enjoy this particular distro. And I won't go in depth with all the different software that comes with it, but it does come with productivity tools, web browser, Office products, sound and video tools, and all kinds of other stuff. Maybe I'll make a video later on, all the different options in Zorin. All you need to know really is how to get online, and there is a web browser built right in called Brave. A lot of people really like the Brave browsers. Now, on the first run here, it wants a password for a keyring. I'm guessing that's probably more of a security thing, so I just created a password. And I'm pretty sure it's not going to ask me that every time. But as you can see, look, it looks just like a Windows environment without all the Microsoft crapola that everybody seems to hate. That is Zorin OS. So as you can see, it's pretty simple. You just have to poke around and ask questions and figure out how to use it. And most people never go back to Windows after using Linux. So there you go. That's how you can take an old, tired, out-of-date, unsupported computer that would have gone into a closet or a garbage bin and make it into a useful everyday operating system. One you never have to worry about security issues. You never have to worry about spyware or any of that stuff. It's really just an easy way to take something old and make it new again. And with Zorin OS, you can absolutely do that. Now, I'm not gonna lie, after using Linux Mint Cinnamon, I actually kind of really like Zorin OS. It seems like it is, in fact, more Windows-like. So for those of you who told me my opinion was wrong, I concede, you were right. I think I do like it better. So let me know down in the comments. Do you like Zorin? You like Linux Mint? A lot of you like Ubuntu and some other ones. Let me know down in the comments what your favorite distro of Linux is and why. My name is Scott Merrill. This is Ask Your Computer Guy. Thank you so much for watching. We'll see you in the next video.